Right, back to the game. I am learning as we're going. A friend of mine recommended some software, and for months I've been putting it off. And I thought, you know what, I really would like to do a Let's Play of Tropico 4 because like I said, it's a fun city builder and not enough people play it. And the type of people do are, it just sort of have saccharine sweet levels of enthusiasm which I find infuriating. There we go, 120 megawatts, that should be enough to start. Now let's build electric substation. Build it there. Oh, lots of noise. Where's that noise coming? Oh, it's coming from over there. Okay, fair enough. Right, so just let's build some substations so I can get that power back. So I suppose going back onto the theme of nationalism, it's something which has become increasingly predominant in recent years. I mean, there was a EU referendum here in the United Kingdom of whether we wanted to remain in it or not, and whilst I suppose we were in it in terms of freedom of movement within the EU borders, you know, if someone lives in the EU, they can come live here and there's no visa application.
All of our trucks are in perfect working order.
Yes, I know. We don't need more roads for doing this. But anyway, back on to nationalism. So yeah, in the European Union, I suppose it's similar to the States. There's freedom of travel. If you're living somewhere in the EU, be it Malta or the Czech Republic, you can come live here in England and vice versa. The only difference is in our country we retained our currency, we never adopted the euro, and it seems for whatever reason the popular opinion was to regain our sovereignty, which upset a lot of people, especially those that had a public voice on the state-sponsored broadcaster. Because effectively that's what it is. In the United Kingdom we have a teletax called the Television and Radio Licence, and the idea being that if you're in a household and you watch a live broadcast, you must pay the tax. It's different in Germany, from what I'm told there. It's a mandatory tax, you have no choice in paying it. It is voluntary in the United Kingdom, but you get lots of nasty nagging letters, which I'm sure if you ask anybody who doesn't pay it what they're like. But effectively it means that the BBC is state-sponsored broadcasting. It toes the political line and really doesn't serve the interests of the people, and they were very disparaging to those who voted out, saying how racist, ignorant, xenophobic and all the other derogatives that you can think to apply. And obviously anyone that voted out was thick as shit, because why would you want control of your own borders? Now I know there's lots of arguments on there, because of course when have the parties ever represented the will of the people? I suppose nominally they would have to, but I do find it interesting that the voter turnout for the referendum was the highest voter participation in decades, whereas generally apathy for the parties is quite strong, and so if people do vote, it tends to be those that always vote for their party, or people that turn up and spoil the ballots. Most people just stay at home because they think, well, why should I even bother? And by and large, that's what's happening. I mean, most people, they are quite disaffected with democracy. I think they understand, even on some instinctual level, even if they haven't really looked into it, that it's a bit of a scam. I always remember there was this quote by Winston Churchill. He said, "Oh, democracy is the worst form of government, except we've tried all the others." And I thought, there's probably a fair bit of truth in that statement. Anyway, I'm going to remove the adventure playground and I'm going to replace it with another one so the kids will be happy. Let's see, a city park. What was the description? I've never read it before. A little green heart surrounded by your concrete monstrosities. Yeah, I agree. Concrete's not the nicest of materials. Although some noteworthy buildings are built out of it. The Pantheon in Rome. Interesting type of concrete as well. Not sure if it's built out of pumice stone or not. And also the communist headquarters in Bulgaria, which now it does lie in ruins. Very interesting building. Quite beautiful in a quite stark way. Not sure how to describe it. It's worth having a look at yourself. And of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I don't like bumpy roads. But anyway, back onto nationalism. Yeah, it's quite popular. Recently in France, there was Front National with Marine Le Pen, who from months I've been confusing. I thought her name generally was Marie because that is a popular French name. And there does seem to be some grumblings over that the election was stolen from her. Apparently in France, if there is any mark on the ballot, it counts as a spoilt ballot. So it doesn't matter what name's written on it, it's just counted as a spoilt ballot. And I believe it had the highest number of spoilt ballots ever in a French election. Was it 11 million? Don't quote me on those numbers. I just remember seeing a Facebook comment from some French woman and I took her word for it. Of course, that's why I'm saying don't take my word for it, because I didn't go and do the fact checking. I wasn't there counting the ballots, but I do suspect some skullduggery was going on. But that's just me being horribly cynical. Anyway, there's my jewellery factory, and let's put on all the things. Yes, allow the imports because I'm not buying anything. There we go. Still 53 workers, which isn't much. And the fish farms, yeah. Oh, let's satisfy the
Presidente, a most wonderful thing has
demolish all the farms, yeah. Well, it's a good thing I've got enough food being imported now. So really I don't need the farms, do I? What are my builders doing? I've got plenty of builders. They're not doing much though. You are doing not much. You're there. Where's my other two builders?
Muy buena.
You are... Oh dear, oh dear. You decided to walk there. Oh, I think it's time for no roads. But anyway, yeah. I myself was quite surprised that in France there was a nationalist front, the Front National, and apparently it was doing, what was it doing? Oh yeah, the Marine Le Pen's father, he was there in 2002 and got 11% of the vote, and now what did she get in the end? Was it 45% of the vote? Either way, it's a vast improvement, and I'm thinking to myself, if Front National win, it will be one of those. It'd be one of those victories by other means, like UKIP in UK. Effectively, UKIP never won, but I believe, considering that we had a referendum on our membership of the European Union, they effectively did win, and fait accompli, they have done what they set out to do. So really, UKIP can be disbanded. Honestly guys, what is the purpose of UKIP now? I mean, they've pretty much served it, haven't they? Anyway, I've built the jewellery factory, and so let's make sure the job's there. And let's encourage people to come into the palace.
Presidente, several European countries are going to ban the public showing of Islamic religious symbols. The Middle East and the rest of the Islamic world are outraged.
Yeah, I'm siding with Europe on this one. Fun fact, before Western civilization was called Western civilization. It was known as Christendom. So that's not any arguments for and against a certain world religion. It's just that's what it was called. But anyway, back onto nationalism. Yeah, it's very popular, and I remember hearing from a few, what do they call themselves, technocrats or autocrats, but they're saying the biggest danger in Europe at the moment is populist factions and uprisings. And I'm thinking to myself, so what is popular? So popular is in of the people, so things which the people like. That apparently is the biggest danger in Europe. And I thought to myself, well, that's a very interesting thing, because you see, I thought what's popular is safety and prosperity, you know, a country where you'd be happy for your children to be born and raised in, and apparently that is the biggest danger to Europe. So I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, so let me think about this. If
today we have invited Ambassador Lord Chuffney in order to find out more
maybe can
about
ask
the
him
growing
about
friendship
populist
between Tropico and EU.
I
leanings.
just came back from a splendid luncheon.
But
with
I
my
do
dear
find it,
friend
it's
El
almost a
Presidente.
damning statement to say,
I can assure you that as long
yeah, the
as
biggest
I get
danger
to
in
eat your
Europe is
scrumptious
populist
tropical scones with my tea,
uprisings
the
and
relations between
movements.
our countries will
So
remain
the will of the
splendid.
people in Europe is the biggest danger to Europe. And I'm thinking, they're not talking about Europe, the continent, they're talking about Europe, the Soviet Union. And I guess it is. I mean, the EU has been proven to be unpopular, and there is some dissent in the ranks.
Presidente, as you knew.
So this year, Espilidon Martinez is going to be the opposition. Is he voting for himself, or is it his mum voting for him?
The rebels are
no,
launching an
rebels.
attack as I speak, sir.
Considering the amount of rebels I've got on my island, it's like... It's almost... the death rate is not as much as the birth rate. But anyway, back on to... So effectively they're saying that, yeah, the will of the people is a danger to Europe, and when they're saying Europe, they mean Europe, the European Union, not Europe as in Europe, the traditional people of Europe, the formerly Christian, now largely secular, white... I suppose, yeah, I mean, that's what you call them. I mean, white is a catch-all term.
A
because you've got-
decisive victory for our brave soldiers, Commandante.
You have Slavs, you have Celtics, you have Germanics, you have the Scandinavians. I can't think, there's probably, I suppose, even Caucasoid types, as they call them. Although I don't know anybody from the Caucasian region, so I couldn't say. But anyway, let's focus on my people and make them happier. So what would make them happier? Free housing? I say it's a communist place. No, I think people will be happier when they know they've bought or rented the house and stuff. Let's have a national day. Everyone likes National Day. And what else can I do for the people? Because a tax cut? Yeah, that will help. Food for the people? Doubles food consumption? Yeah. And what else? I can't enact any of those because I don't have a ministry. No. But anyway, suffice to say, I do find it rather damning that I'm sure you can find who said it. Answers in the comments section, please, folks. Who it was that said in the European Union that the danger in Europe today is populist uprisings, and not say other problems facing Europe, like of all the major blocs, it has had the slowest growth rate in all nations, I suppose. Let's go with nations, or the encroaching effect of Islamic terrorism. I don't know what else to call it, because they claim to be Islamic and they're doing things which are terrifying. I mean, likewise, if you've got crusaders which were setting fire to people and would deem them a sword of fire, that would be a form of terrorism as well. What else, I suppose? I suppose the other things which people find threatening in Europe is mass migration or replacement level migration, where entire towns are replaced with people of different what's it called? What's the word? Demographics. There we go. Yeah, demographics. To the point now where nations in our capitals, in the space of 3 or 4 decades, they're now, well, they're unrecognisable as.
Congratulations,
long-term nations.
Presidente. You have won the elections. People are content that no.
Oh, that's true. I mean, from London to Paris to Berlin to Brussels, I've been in these, and they do not really represent the traditional people of that. And you could say, well, people and ethnicities change, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's true. That's not really an argument for, though. That's just an observation of fact. I mean, when the Normans invaded, then it was a change in people. There was before then you had Anglo-Saxons, and then after that it was Normans, who I'm told were Christianized Vikings. Let's see. Ministry of Economy. You're in the supermarket. You're pregnant. Let's see. For the good of the people, Matilda. Yeah, Dolanda. Mrs. Dolanda, you are now the Minister of Economy. Get us a good deal. Ministry of Education. Who's see? Telling us. Her leadership's good. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, you can be our education minister. I need a foreign embassy for that. And let's see. You know, I like the fact that of all the people I could employ a criminal into the Ministry of Interior. Well, I do believe in reformed characters, so Raphael Delanda, this is your chance to serve a penance. You are now Minister of the Interior and Defence Minister. Exceptional intelligence, there we go. Right, so now I've got all these options. I thought I have a Minister of Education. Yeah, you're still filling in the thing, aren't you? Okay. Equal opportunity to work on the IQ skill 22% fast. That sounds good. People's Committee. Vote for our Presidente or else. No, it's not needed. People understand democracy is a sham and they're going to vote for me or else. No, I'm told this word is a junta because the Spaniards have that thing of not pronouncing the J's the same way we Anglos do, so let's have a council of ministers. Anyway, back onto nationalism. Yeah. So, what's more there to say about it? You've got people that live in a certain place and they're proud of themselves and their ancestors and traditions, and that's an incredibly bad, racist and evil thing. But as one of my favourite racists said, Mohandas Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. So,
Presidente, the progress of the students in my class is slower than expected. The boys spend more time flirting with me than learning their lessons.
I don't blame them, but you know what? Let's just disable the hints because they're annoying. It's just going to be people saying, oh, you've got this building but no one's working there. And yeah, that's because of a very specific game mode. But anyway, nationalism's bad, racists are evil, case closed. But oh yeah, as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world, lead by example. And so really that means set a positive example for people, and I think we in Europe and...
As the Watergate scandal appears more and more likely to lead to the resignation of the U.S. president, a more pressing question looms. Are all political leaders corrupt? What do you think, Penultimo?
El Presidente is the only true and honest Presidente in the whole world. All other Presidentes are crooks. It's a fact.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, well, yeah, look, there's 53 people on my island, I'm not going to lie to them, am I? Police and military buildings have low negative impact on liberty. That's good, because I can't afford journalists at the moment. In fact, let's have a look at the Economia panel. 46 free job positions. And total consumption 19 megawatts, okay. But yeah, nationalism and Europe. Yeah, Europe's got a lot to be proud of. And I wanted to make a point about religion. So, for a long time I didn't like the excesses of the Catholic Church, and I just thought to myself, well, you know, they preach a vow of poverty and how, you know, it'll be easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's rather hypocritical considering that the, you know, absolute luxury palaces of, say, the Vatican, where you do have palaces of gold, and they're more ostentatious than Buckingham Palace. But then I went to Malta and I visited Valletta, and my father said, oh, when you go there, go and see the St. John Cathedral and have a look at the Caravaggio painting. And my God, it's not until you go in some place as opulent as that and quite morbid. They had this ossuary part of it, like a small chapel in one of the wings, and it was just made of various bones and quite metal. But I saw the painting Caravaggio, and this is a good example of a foreign character. Really has to be the most beautiful painting I've seen. And in terms of artists, I like, I think his name is it's either Ludwig or Lawrence Alma-Tadema. As his critics were disparaging of him, had said, oh yeah, he just painted Victorians in togas. And anyway, this Caravaggio painting, I have never seen a painting as beautiful and exquisite as the one I've seen in
Comrade, we have a...
never seen a painting as beautiful, as exquisite as this painting. I didn't know it was possible to create such detail using pigments on a piece of canvas. The guy was a murderer, and then the Knights of Malta, or the Knights Templar, they said, yeah, about that murder.
Presidente, we are not...
If you paint something for us, free of charge, we'll consider it a penance, and we'll forgive you and you can go to heaven. And, well, Caravaggio, he must have taken it to heart, this idea of penance, because he painted pretty much the most beautiful painting probably in the world. I've never been to the Louvre. I've not seen the painting of Mona Lisa, apart from the copies of it. So I don't know, I haven't seen it in person. But this Caravaggio painting, absolutely exquisite. If you ever have the opportunity to visit in person, do, because the photographs of it and the copies don't really do it justice. There's something, I don't want to say insubstantial, but there's some sort of, it's hard to describe the essence of the painting until you see it for yourself. And up until that point, I never really had much respect for art, well, apart from Alma-Tadema, because he was quite beautiful. I mean, I grew up with modern art and I suppose the crass vulgarity of the 1980s, and so it wasn't until later that I realised it, and I thought to myself, really, you see, growing up...
Excellent. And now we can...
Growing up, I always had this, it was very sort of, I suppose, left-brain dominant, this idea of, science and maths and do all the pragmatic stuff. And it was only later on in life that I realised, well, I suppose first of all with music, but then food and resource, that's it. Yeah, there's borehole now. Oh yeah, and I still have yet to demolish all my farms. Where's that last farm? There you are. But it's later on in life that I realise, like, things like music and art, they are magical. They're I don't want to say that it's what separates us from the animals, because we've got self-awareness and we've got this spirit of invention, which means that
closer to a plant nirvana.
Which means that we're separate from all the animals, because, 5 million years ago, were we even bashing rocks together as tools? And now we've got, well, technology verging on magic, especially with artificial intelligence and other incomprehensible things. But 5 million years from now, I mean, what will humanity be? Will it still be a physical being that we'd recognise? Or will we have transcended into a post-physical form like science fiction talks about? Or, you know, will the doom and gloomists, the thoughts I don't like to entertain, will they say, well, that's it, well, we'll all just be dead from nuclear holocaust? What do you want?
1,000 greetings.
I would,
my
except
beautiful
I've got, you know, I'm busy, so I can't. Hard to say, really. But the thing is, yeah, but carrying on with that point, 5 million years ago, a gazelle was much like a gazelle now, and 5 million years in the future, I doubt there'll be that much difference in the gazelle if their environment remains the same. So humanity's got that. So I think art and beauty, this is something that's intrinsic to humanity, and this idea of it is something which I would like to discuss in greater detail with people. I've certainly listened to people's opinions on it. Suffice to say, I think it's magic, because when it comes to music and art, not so much with art, but certainly with music, I have heard beautiful songs which sadly I'm lacking in the talent to do. But I hear music there, and then even, let's say if I was to pick up my guitar, it wouldn't sound anything like the song which I heard in my dream. But I noticed in those days my practice is better than... Hello?